This is a custom magnetic faceplate for the Seismic audio rack mount 16-channel TRS combo splitter snake. Please see the video description below for a download of the template. In order to modify the template, you're going to need access to Adobe Photoshop. In this example here, you'll see I have a left section as well as the right section. I'm going to go ahead and modify quickly the title and logo of the band. Make sure you have the text tool chosen here and select the band name and edit as needed. You can also choose the move tool to move it around as needed. Now, I also like to go and change the port text, of course, so make sure you expand the port text, then port labels. Find the preamp row that you need. Click on the port or preamp that you're interested in modifying. Make sure you have the text tool selected. Then click on the name and change as needed. There's plenty of room to add a lot of text, so you should have a lot of free reign. You can also change colors for pretty much everything you see on here. So everything is done by color overlays. All you have to do is double click on something for the double overlay. Make sure color overlay is chosen, choose the color, then change as desired. All of the colors, including the background, can be done this way. One final thing I'll show you is over on the background, we have two options. We have one with guidelines to help you cut by hand. That is the example that's shown here. This does guidelines on both the ports and the outer edge of each template. Now for my example, I'm going to be doing in a moment, I'm going to be cutting on a machine that I have here in my office. So I'm going to be choosing that option. As you'll see, the guidelines disappear. Next, we'll go ahead and print this and send it to my cutting machine. Now, if you chose to print and cut this by hand, you would just choose the print option here in Photoshop. Make sure you choose your paper type, in my case, magnetic glossy paper, and print from there. For me, I'm going to save this to a PNG file and import it into my cutting program. So I'm going to choose File, Save as a copy. Make sure the format is PNG, and then save my file name. Choose the largest file size because we want to have the highest quality, and then open up my cutting program. Now for machine cutting this, I'm going to be using a Cricut Explorer 3. You might be using a similar product like a Silhouette or maybe even a laser cutting machine. Regardless, the process is going to be very similar. I've started with a new project. I'm going to go ahead and upload my image. Now, when you get to this screen, it's going to ask you how detailed you want the image to be. Make sure you choose the complex or the highest detail. Otherwise, it won't look as good in your final print. From this screen, you choose your transparent areas to choose where to cut. However, I've already taken care of that, so I can just click Apply and Continue. And then finally, I want to choose Print Then Cut because I'm going to be using this software to print and cut it. Now that we've gone ahead and uploaded the image to our library, we're going to go ahead and choose it and then click Add to Canvas. Now, before we print this from here, we must notice that there is an exclamation point up here. This tells us that it is too large to print. So we're going to go ahead and choose the size needed. I know for a fact, because I designed these templates, that this needs to be 7.89 inches. I'm going to hit Tab, and then it resizes. We can go ahead and click Make It to continue to the next process. Click Continue to confirm your options. Then from here, we're going to send it to the printer. On this next screen, I like to make sure I add bleed because it doesn't always cut exactly as needed. What bleed does is it will add a little extra ink around the cutting areas. I also like to use the system dialog because I like to choose the exact paper I want to use. Now I'll go ahead and choose Print. One important thing to note if you have a Macintosh like I do is it may send the print dialog box to the background. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag this down and bring this forward. From here, I'll choose my settings that I want. Now you want to choose the options that are needed for your printer here. I like a little bit finer control. That's why I like to bring up this dialog box. So for me, I'm going to choose to take the magnetic paper from the rear tray, and I'm also going to choose the media type as photo quality. On the printer itself, I told it that I had a paper type of Glossy 2. Otherwise, if I left it at a default photo using plain paper, it can sometimes bleed the ink and make it not dry properly. I'm going to go ahead and hit print. Once complete, hopefully your print should look similar to this. Before sending the material through the cutting device, it's always a good idea to get rid of any air bubbles first. Okay, now that my templates have been printed, I'm going to send them to my cutting machine. Now, in my example, as I said before, I'm using a Cricut Explorer 3. I need to choose my base material. So for this example, I'm going to use magnetic paper. In here, they have a couple options. You can get pretty granular. I'm just going to choose this one. It's a little thicker than I need, but that's fine. So I'll go ahead and choose that here. And then I like to set the pressure to less. I don't need any more than that because it's going to cut 4 times and I really only need like 2 or 3, but I'm going to leave that for now. Next, we go over to the device and load the material into the cutting machine. If you've used a cutting machine like this before, then this is nothing new. You load it in, you hit play, and the rest is automated. When removing the magnetic paper from the cutting mat, I find it's a good idea to use a spatula knife to help guide it off, to help prevent any kind of curling or rolling with the final product. And we're done. Now, as you can see, adding or removing or changing out the magnetic templates to your audio rack is fairly quick and fairly easy. I like to remove them from both the top and bottom at the same time, just makes it a little easier. If you've made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. Make sure to check out the video description below for a download of this template, as well as any products that I personally use. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and post them below. Thanks.